Be sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Melee Mob to see all our movie news, reviews, and so much more. Hello everyone, I am Detective Artimus from Movie Melee, and welcome to Movies in a Nutshell, Spoiler Edition. Today I'll be talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi in full spoiler form. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, then click the link above to see the spoiler-free version. Go! So in Star Wars The Last Jedi, it takes place right where Force Awakens left off. So Poe Dameron, obviously the best guy in the whole movie. He was the coolest. When he came on The Force Awakens, you knew that, okay, this guy is kind of like he's supposed to be like the new Han Solo. And well, he kind of is, and that's okay. I love his jacket. So the opening sequence, we have Poe Dameron, you know, being a badass and like taking out the little cannons for the Star Destroyer. Oh, I'm sorry, what was it called? The Dreadnought? Okay, fine. It's a Star Destroyer. And now here where we get like the first bit of humor that feels a little too much, where he's talking about, oh, hi, I'm looking to speak to General Hux. This is him, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, is General Hux there? No, I mean, can he hear me? That was kind of funny, but that was also the first of many over the top kind of like jokes. I felt like it didn't belong in a little place. And honestly, it kind of took me out the movie a little bit. It was almost like Marvel kind of like directed this movie. Like it got Marvel banged with all the humor. At times it was cool, sometimes it fell out of place. Yeah, so then later on, you find out Rey's parents. You find out the answer is a question. In Force Awakens, that was kind of like one of the big things. Like, who's Rey's parents? Obviously it's Han and Leia. Nah, they're just a couple of drunken hobos who died in the sand somewhere in Jakku. All right, fine, whatever. And then Snoke, Supreme Leader Snoke, who seemed like he'd be the biggest, most badass person, he just dies. He dies without us knowing a fucking thing about him. His messed up face. Was he Boba Fett? Pfft, no, absolutely not. That's a stupid theory. Was he the Emperor? Maybe. That's also a stupid theory. It could have been. We'll never know, because that motherfucker died. He just died. But after he died, we did get a pretty cool lightsaber sequence with Kylo Ren and Rey. Speaking of Rey, I don't like Rey. I don't know what it is about her. She feels like an invincible Mary Sue, and she just wakes up. She's like, I got the Force, that's cool. Maybe it's the actress. I feel like the actress really doesn't have any charisma for me to root behind her. Kind of like Jin from Rogue One. I didn't give a shit if she died. She didn't show any emotion. She's like, we're gonna die. And then there's that whole Leia thing. Let's delve into this. So when the First Order are closing in on the Resistance, they shoot up the ship, and then fucking like Leia flies out of space, and you think, oh well, fuck, Leia died. All right, I guess. Then later on, you see her just kind of like floating there, like a crystallized dead person, and then like she kind of comes back to life. She fucking like Supermans through space to get herself back into the ship. She survives being sucked out of space and just flies over there. Leia, who has never used the Force before, except that one time where she kind of talked to Luke telepathically in Empire, where he's like, Leia, Luke. And that's pretty much the only time you ever see her kind of come in with the Force. And then out of nowhere, she just awakens. She sees some hope, and it's just like, Superman that hoe to the ship. It was really weird, and it felt a little awkward. I thought she turned into a Force ghost, but no, she survived, which is another ironic thing, because Luke dies in the movie. Oh my God, Luke has probably the coolest scene in the entire movie. And after about 40 years of him not being in action, it wasn't even him. It was just an astral projection of himself. Yeah, he can astral project himself via the Force and do some cool stuff. Yeah, it was great. He's so tired from using the Force that it takes a toll on him, and he dies. Luke dies like that. He went out like a pretty cool hero, yeah, but in a way he still didn't do shit. I love Luke. Luke's my favorite. Come at me. So Han Solo, he dies in The Force Awakens. All right. Luke Skywalker, he dies in The Last Jedi. Fine. But Princess Leia, she's still alive. And the messed up thing about that is that in real life, Harrison Ford, who plays Han Solo, is still alive. Mark Hamill, who plays Luke Skywalker, is still alive. But Carrie Fisher, who plays Princess Leia, is actually dead in real life. So the one actor, or the one character who stayed alive from the original 3 is dead in real life. And the other 2 who died, the other characters, are still alive in real life. So it's almost like they wrote themselves in a sort of in a corner. And I mean, I get that like these movies are supposed to be like a pass of a torch to a new generation of viewers, but I feel like Han should have went out like that. Luke should not have went out like that. I mean, yeah, his scene was pretty cool, but he deserved more. And then Princess Leia, who can now fly through space, is alive. It's like, what are they gonna do now? Did she even do any scenes for episode 9? I don't know, it's gonna be weird. I can't get over her flying through space thing. So Yoda makes a surprise return, and that was probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. Tells Luke, oh, you know, it's okay, let's burn this shit down. Everything Rey needs to know, she already knows. You don't need those stupid ancient Jedi attacks that have been there for thousands of years. Yoda's like, fuck it, I don't give a shit, burn it down. But I'm also glad they used a puppet Yoda instead of the CGI one, because the Phantom Menace one still looks really weird to me to this day. So kind of like how Force Awakens borrowed some heavy, you know, plot things from A New Hope, Last Jedi kind of borrows from Empire Strikes Back in the sense of, oh, we got a novice Jedi going to an older Jedi Master to learn ways of the Force, while the Empire, the First Order is closing in on the Rebels. The Resistance. So that was, it kind of felt too familiar for me for that, because again, Rey only gets a couple of lessons in the Force, like Luke did with Yoda, and she was able to become more powerful. I guess they didn't show us more, but that whole thing felt a lot like Empire Strikes Back, and it's almost like they did it on purpose. Last Jedi also took elements from Return of the Jedi. Like when Luke was telling Vader, Father, there's still good in you, I can sense it. And his whole thing about I can bring him back to the light side, Rey was doing that to Kylo Ren in the elevator, just like Luke did to Vader. That had to be fucking intentional. They knew what they were doing. It was an obvious callback to what already happened. So the fact that they continue to borrow elements from older movies tells me that this movie, still as good as it was, it didn't feel as fresh as it should have been. So it kind of took me out of it a little bit. Another thing they borrowed from Return of the Jedi is the fact that, the Empire, or Snoke, was trying to convince Kylo, to kill Rey. And so you think that Snoke is gonna kill Rey, but then at the last second, Kylo comes in to save her. Where have I seen that before? You know what? Just call this movie Return of the Last Jedi. Strikes Back. So what was the point of Kylo and Rey's connection between each other? It almost made it seem like they were somehow related by blood and not just, through the Force. And that's where you think, oh, maybe they are actually brother and sister. But then you find out Kylo's like, nah, your parents are a bunch of drunken hobos who died in the sand in Jakku. Maybe it's possible he lied, but then if they bring this back in episode 9, it's gonna feel like that we kind of fucked up on that, so we're gonna kind of retcon it, be like, yeah, no, they weren't drunken hobos, they were actually special. So if they do that now, it's almost like a wasted plot line. So another important thing you find out too is remember that little flashback sequence in Force Awakens where you see Luke's hand on R2-D2 and shit's burning down? Well, they actually explore that a little bit more in this one. So apparently Luke sensed that Kylo has a lot of darkness in him. He's gonna fuck shit up and kill people. So Luke goes into Kylo's little hut and he's about to kill him, but then he doesn't. He's like, oh no, what am I doing? Oh man, I shouldn't be doing this. But then Kylo's like, oh my god, you trying to kill me, bro? And then so Kylo thinks that he's attacking him, so he kind of takes him out, then he burns down the temple from there. So did Luke turn on Kylo? Or did he kind of realize what he was done, what he did? He did realize that he failed as a master, so I don't know what the point of that was. Is Luke the bad guy? Is Kylo the bad guy? Well, actually he is the bad guy, but I feel like that whole sequence was, it left more questions than it did answers, and that's kind of what this movie does in a whole, is it makes more questions than answers. It's not supposed to do that. Why'd you kill Snoke? Who was Snoke? Who was he? He looked like a burned ball sack. Also at the very end, when everyone escapes and all that stuff, we see the little boy from the little casino planet area. He uses the Force to get the broom and do some Cinderella work. I guess apparently he's Force sensitive too. He holds up his little rebel ring. It's kind of weird. I didn't like that kid already. I don't know what it was. I was just like, oh my god, Anakin, come back, and you left one over here. Slice him up. I didn't like him. So that concludes this episode of Movies in a Nutshell, spoiler edition. Let me know what you guys thought about The Last Jedi Strikes Back in the comments down below. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I am Detective Artimus, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys. There's a time. I'm working on the sign-off line, all right? Okay?